I called on your ambulance, the free ambulance. I don't think we want it. It's a 93, and it's pretty old. So.
Well, I'm saying even, and like I say, we don't have to take it, even if we were going to use it, trade it in, do something with it, whatever. Make a grass vehicle, whatever. If it's worth anything, get it. If not, then don't. I mean, it's up to you. You're the chief, so.
So Saturday we had an incident with the police department's 10-digit emergency line.
That wasn't just ours, though, was it? Wasn't it like?
Well, Streetsboro Police Department, their sprinkler system's activated.
Right.
So it roached all their equipment, basically.
That's what I heard, yeah.
So it was put on social media that 911 was down, which I called 911 and 911 was not down. So instead of being reactive, I was proactive, and I couldn't get a hold of the police chief, couldn't get a hold of the officer on duty. Called the number that they put on Facebook, and that was actually the administrative office, and it told me to leave a message. So
love it.
That's when I contacted Mr. Belknap. Dave came up, and we ended up working together to resolve a situation that, I mean, could have caused a lot of panic. Dave then asked me if the police department could go on active 911 on our account.
I have some insight if you want.
Well, go ahead.
So I originally asked him if we could put all of our individual officers on the active 911 as users, so that way the Streetsboro incident knocked down the tablet. The only other person that has it on their account is the police chief. So they got a call. He had to leave. I was standing there talking to him, the officer, and he said, hold on, I got to go out to Lemon Circle for a call. And that was like 10 minutes later, because the chief had called him and said, hey, you need to go out there to assist the fire department just in case. So I originally asked Nick if the village could just pay the fire department for their users. But I came up with a better idea. We just pay for active 911 and give you the codes. Like if another firefighter comes to you, you just enter the code, and then they're in the system. You have full control if you want to remove somebody, and we pay for it out of our own account to our own subscription.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But as long as you guys are okay with it.
I'm confused.
So
they're basically paying their own subscription.
Okay.
So we would pay for our slots for our active 911, but we would just give Nick the user codes. Kind of like if a firefighter comes from Troy to Windham and he's on both departments and Troy's paying for their active 911, they would just give Nick the code and he would enter in the system, and it wouldn't cost Windham anything. And that user would still be able to use Troy and Windham. So then with the police department, we would just give him the codes and he would enter it, so that way it's like us piggybacking, but we're paying for our own. But we would get all the alerts.
The only thing that I'm concerned with is I know that there's nosy people around here too, and I don't need them.
But we have to be professional too. We're a police department. If we can't,
I get that. So why don't you just buy your own? Period.
Well, we will.
So why would I need your codes?
So how do I explain it better?
Yeah, because to me, if you have your own and we got our own, there's no reason to overcross. I don't need to know.
We would have our own, but there's no way of. It would be Ravenna City when they dispatch it. It would go to our accounts too. So when a fire goes out for a call, it would notify our police officers too.
But do you always go on our call?
If it's in the village, yeah. Or
But it used to be we did and then we didn't.
Yeah, I mean.
And now it's like.
Yeah, if it's in the village, which I like when the police department shows up. I really do in the village. I mean, that way, if we need help lifting, I don't have to call community for 550 if Braceville's busy or whatever. They can help. Or if somebody's getting their butt kicked in, on a domestic, obviously they're going first. But
right.
Your fire the other day, you had traffic control on Bright Drive. They showed up right away, shut down the roads for them. So it's just nice to know And I mean, sheriff's office does it too. Like they go to, like when I was in Manaway, they would always come to our calls just in case shit hits the fan.
Well, and that's what I said back when I dispatched.
Yeah.
That's the way it was.
Yeah.
And then they changed it, so I'm like.
So right now, and
What
correct me
now?
if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to talk over you, but there's a tablet at Streetsboro that we authorized when I was on the board. Streetsboro has a tablet, just like Nick has on his phone. When a call goes out, it goes to that tablet. Streetsboro then notifies their officers over the phone or the radio, hey, just so you know, Windham's going to Linden Circle for this. And then they have the option to respond. The police chief also has it in case of an emergency, something goes down, like the Streetsboro tablet got ruined in the water incident. So now, instead of just having a tablet and the chief, the officers that we have would have it on their phone. So if something's big going on and the chief's busy, you know, like the senior citizen house, when that ordeal went down, the chief was busy, the mayor was busy, whoever else was there. If an officer like Tiffany, who lives close by, she could come in, respond, get a cruiser, and then come assist you know, the fire department, that kind of stuff. So it's not just the people on duty knowing, it's people off duty, like our firefighters would know, hey, if we need more help, they can come in. It's just a redundancy backup plan. We would pay for it all, and we would just, instead of two people having it, tablet and the chief, it would be all the
The
officers.
bill goes straight to you.
Yeah, we would take care of all the payments and everything.
But what I'm saying is the bill goes straight to you.
Yep. You guys would
I
have
don't see it at
nothing
all.
to do with it except for allowing our, what is it, a 10-digit number or whatever, to go into your system.
Is it one 10
code.
digits? One
No.
digit? It's every single one of them.
Every single.
Yeah, so each person, each user would have their own code. So say an officer leaves. The chief could call Nick, hey, this guy's left, he's no longer with us. Nick could go in the system, delete him. They would no longer get any alerts. Or if you guys change your mind 3 months down the road, say, hey, I don't want this no more, Nick could go in the system, eliminate everybody. Our officers would have no control over anything that goes on with the fire department for paging or anything. It would just be the pagers come up,
So-
they'd see it, and they could respond if they want.
So if he decides to get rid of everything, what happens to you guys?
Then we just have a system we're paying for that doesn't have anything from Windham coming over.
I'm just if we go this route, I will just have Ravenna City set it up, and you'll be like a sub underneath us, and that way you'll basically do all the work. You'll give them their codes, whatever, and I could just say, you know, if it doesn't work out, you know, one day, then I can email her and say, hey, shut it off.
Yeah.
And that way, huh? Yeah, Jolene.
Digitally?
I didn't know if you controlled it or if Ravenna did, but
No,
yeah, either way, we would not have the ability to
It's only
hijack
the
your
cops,
system.
Oh, the
Right?
cops.
Yeah, it's just the cops.
And,
It
you
would
know-
not be the mayor. It would not be,
Well,
you
I
know,
was
village
thinking-
council. It would not be the street guys. It would not be the
Well, I was
village
thinking
administrator.
The village administrator, because if you guys are talking about like emergencies and they need to shut down roads or cut up trees and shit, you know, should he?
Well, that's up to you guys. I'll let you guys decide
Shouldn't it be
that.
up to them to contact him?
Well,
I'm-
it could be up to them to contact the cops too. I don't know.
That's up to you guys. We would be paying for it, so literally all it would be is adding the number
I
into
say
the
whatever
system.
the chief likes. I mean, I think it's nice to have the police there with them.
It is. It
But
is nice.
the
And
chief, and you
And
make the decision.
like you're saying, you could also add in the water superintendent. If you get a fire, you don't have to worry about calling Brandon and saying, "Hey, Brandon, I need you to come in and turn on the pumps."
Can you specify what type of calls they get?
No. So I mean, they're
It's
going to be
strictly
getting.
911 no
yeah,
matter
it's
what.
911.
Yeah.
It's going to be every call.
So it's whatever you want. The village administrator, if something's happening, he's probably going to get called anyways. But this would,
I say
if you
think
want to
about
add him,
chief, and then you think what's best for the fire department
Yep.
and the village and the town, you know, for everybody, and then you come up with what you think. And like I've told you in the past, you're a chief, so you need to figure stuff out.
it was just a suggestion because, like I said, the other day, you know, Nick called me because those guys didn't have any way of knowing that, you know, the system was down. And then I went in and then, okay, now the tablet's down. You know, if they go on a shooting or something that's not reported to the police department first, is they call 911 because they don't want the cops to know, then the chief's not answering or something and the tablet's down. They really have no way of knowing unless they tell Ravenna, can you contact Streetsboro? And then it just goes through the links. So,
Did Streetsboro not have a backup plan?
so they did. They moved into Aurora's dispatch.
I'm just asking. I mean,
They moved into Aurora within 45 minutes of the sprinklers going off. They were up and operational from Aurora. That's their contingency plan.
okay.
Everything was good, and I guess within 2 days they were back in their own dispatch center. So they did have it. The reason why the number was wrong was because the officer that posted it on Facebook couldn't get a hold of the chief or whatever. He just called, and that's the number that popped up on the phone system. So that he's like, okay, because we switched over phones and we're going back and forth, and quality IP has this, and it's supposed to be this. You know, instead of it being, I think it's 2211 or 2212, it was 2622, and it just created mass confusion.
So, and this is sort of getting off base, but from a command point, I think that we should all have a list of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I can't get a hold of the police chief, does your on-duty officer have a phone?
That's what I need to find out. So that's what I'm trying to work on now.
I want that number, and if I'm out of town.
Correct. Our council had a meeting the other day, and I brought up to the chief all this, and we're going to work on that. I also made it a point that any Facebook post that gets posted is to go through the chief first for approval. So that way we don't have these type of incidents where, you know, officer so-and-so thinks that he should post this, and then somebody else thinks they should post it. No, everything has to be funneled through the chief for approval. So that's eliminated. But I will work on getting you the numbers once we get our phones.
Well, I wouldn't say so much
away.
numbers as a call tree.
That, yeah.
Because I don't care
Yeah.
whether your lieutenant's on station or not. If I can't get that chief,
Who do I go to
the
next?
lieutenant should be the next. If I can't get him,
Right.
then I go to the next person. That's the way it should
I called the mayor, council president, and I didn't get an answer until I called the village administrator.
No, and see, there you go. But we don't. A call tree would be better
Right.
than a list
Yep.
of phone numbers.
I can do that.
That way, we actually have points of contact that we know we're supposed to follow chain of command.
Yep.
And then I guess vice versa for the police department, Nick, our call tree.
Yep, absolutely.
So, what do you think? Are you guys okay
Well, I
with?
think whatever the chief wants is what I'm voting.
I'm okay with that, as long
Okay.
as the board's okay with that.
And if
Okay.
it's misused, I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay. I'll have Garinger get a hold of you
Okay.
once we get everything set up and done. So, thank you.
Thank you. That's all I had.
That's all you got. Okay, old business. Any new business?
Appropriations,
Um,
2025. So fire fund has, we'll have 465, 325. EMS fund, 352, 100.
Okay, wait a minute, what was that?
352, 100, you said?
Yes, 465, 325.
And what was 352?
EMS fund
Oh, thank you.
for total appropriations of 817, 425.
Sounds like a lot of money when you start spending it on fire stuff.
Okay. Cool. Do we need to approve it? I make a motion to approve the appropriations as stated. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
I guess this isn't new business, but just like, I guess, the chief's been doing it. It seems like you've been covering a lot of your shifts. I see cars down there all the time.
We're trying.
So, I'm assuming that's what happened, 'cause I'm seeing vehicles there a lot. So.
Today we didn't have any staffing, but I mean,
It's gonna happen sometime, but it just seems like there's more vehicles down there all the time.
There was a lot yesterday. Baseball game.
I've watched today too, including a bus.
yeah, the bus decides it's going to park sideways in our parking lot.
Anybody have anything else?
I have one thing. Can I get the appropriation, or not the appropriation, but fund status emailed to me as of like just today or March 1st, whatever you want to put, and payment listing for January and February?
If you take the minutes, you would have the payments.
Oh, okay.
And you can have the fund status.
Thank you. Did you get yours?
It's in the mail.
I figured I'd give it a couple months before I bothered him again.
Well, if you don't get it by next meeting, because she said she just mailed it, let us know.
Cool.
I put my phone number in there.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
So hopefully you get it, no problem.
What you trying to get?
I'm just trying to educate myself as a voter. I hear you going on about an ambulance, and figured I wanted to look at the budget to see if I thought it was
Well, I hope you're way smart enough to find it in there because we can't.
Well, I'm just saying, you know.
No, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you guys. Well, with a renewal and a levy, it's a lot of money, but I
Well,
understand
that's the
your
problem,
guys'
too.
position.
Well, the position is, if we don't get it, we're not gonna have an ambulance 4 years from now or 3 years from now. That's my concern.
How old is the ambulance that you have?
90.
We have two of them.
Oh,
So
six.
there's our oldest one is, I believe, a 2006, and our newest one is a 2022.
But that's a Reebox.
And that's
not
a
brand
Reeboks.
Okay,
Well, they
so
did
the
rebox that.
oldest of the two, I'm assuming, is a Ford
Yes.
It's a 6.0.
It's a 6.0.
6.0. Not as good as a 7.3, but
Exactly.
yeah, I work with big equipment. I get it, I really do, but you know,
We just don't want someday not to have something if somebody needs it.
I try to be the person that wants for your village workers, whether it be police, fire, or street, to have the things they need. I really do try to be that person, you know, but
Yeah, because if you're thinking I want to pay more taxes, I don't. Trust me.
yeah, my property taxes went up a pretty substantial amount this year,
Mine went
Did
which
Okay,
I
so
need to pay those.
over $1,200 mine went up.
Don't forget about Rita.
My two major concerns are
Yeah, that's what I'm
staffing
talking about.
and apparatus maintenance. Staffing to make sure that the apparatus is staffed appropriately, and the apparatus maintenance to make sure it's ready to go out the door.
And the other thing, when you look it up, if you see it, it's probably not in there, but the chief might be able to explain it to you. Not only is like our ambulance, that old, that most people around here drive a newer car than that, but we have guys using equipment that expired in the 90s.
Fire equipment.
Well, I mean, that raises a lot of questions to me, but I understand that the budget is the budget, and the choices are the choices, and I
Whatever
don't
happened
have
when
the
when they
answers.
had to split why the village and township had to split, I still don't understand how all that happened.
I don't understand any. That's why I kind of started coming, because it's like it's a joint fire district. It used to be township and village, and I don't even know what
Somehow
it is
there was a
now.
lawsuit, I don't understand it, there was a lawsuit back, I don't know, 20 years ago, however long ago it was, where they had to
2009.
do it
10.
for some reason, I don't know why.
January 1st, 2010.
Yeah,
That hurt the fire department when that happened.
I don't. None of it makes any sense to me, but.
Same thing happened, I think around the same time with the cemetery. Now the cemetery is just owned by the township.
I didn't know the village owned it.
I thought at one time though, it was like a joint thing or whatever, maybe.
It might have been. I know it costs more for a village resident than it does a township to buy a plot.
Yeah, because the township pays for everything out there.
Yeah. Well, a cemetery is supposed to fund itself.
They don't.
No.
Everybody gets cremated nowadays.
There is that.
But anyway, that ain't about the fire department. So, but yeah, anything you guys can help with, whatever. I mean, there's just,
I'm just curious, is all.
That's fine. Any other right, that's great, I'm glad you took the interest.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, the other 30 people in
we
this
need,
room.
we need more
It's the
people.
same
We
way
need
as
more
in
people to
council
come to
I
this.
know,
That's what we
I
need.
was on council once upon a time.
Yeah.
And I'll say it on record. If you're not on the council, you sure do get treated like a retard sometimes.
Some very interesting comments.
I don't go to council meetings, so I don't know.
That's why I'm no longer on council.
So,
I came where I thought I could make the most beneficial contribution.
but, you know.
And this board originally, there's supposed to be 5 people.
That's what I thought. I was
Can't
looking
get-
at this. And,
Nobody wants to do nothing.
yeah,
So that's it.
I,
I mean, none of us, we're here, but would I rather be at the softball game right now?
I have a million places I'd rather be right now.
But we're dedicated. Yeah, you can adjourn. Anything else? And I make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 5:54.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.